So we were at the precipice here. We had to rewrite the script. Donald Trump continues to rewrite the political script. Democrats believe they finally had Trump and the entire MAGA movement in a box. But once again, the last laugh will be on them. Here to break it down, retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward, former CENTCOM commander and Navy SEAL, along with Nathan Sales, former counterterror ambassador at large during President Trump's first term. Mr. Ambassador, now, again, just off the phone with President Trump, and then we're reading in the New York Times that the Iranian 10-point proposal includes a lifting of all sanctions placed on Iran by every American administration since George W. Bush. Now, again, we don't know where this is going to end up, but would that be something we would ever agree to?
Hey, Laura, I have a hard time believing that Donald Trump would go soft on Iranian sanctions or any of the other demands that Iran has put forward in the past. Their wish list was exactly that, a fantasy wish list. They wanted us to withdraw all of our forces from the region. Not going to happen. They wanted us to pay reparations for war damage. Not going to happen. They wanted us to affirm that they had control legally over the Strait of Hormuz. Again, dead on arrival. So the big picture here, we need to watch and see how Iran responds now. This is a great development, potentially, but the key word in the president's post was subject. This is all subject to the Iranian regime agreeing to open the Strait of Hormuz now. And then we can have negotiations about the finer points later on. Let's watch and see what Tehran does. Have they blinked, or are they going to try and weasel their way out of a commitment to open the strait?
Admiral, of course, the Iranian state TV is flashing comments like Trump's humiliating retreat from anti-Iran rhetoric. It's just ridiculous. Trump accepts Iran's terms. Of course they're going to do that. What else are they going to say? But, Admiral, given what you know now, and given what I think you got from my comments about President Trump's mood tonight, what are your takeaways?
Well, I agree with the ambassador. The number one, open up the straits. If that's accomplished and stuff starts flowing tomorrow, then it's a huge victory for the president. And I would tell you one other thing that I think is very important, people overlook. I've lived in the region for the last 12 years through 4 different administrations. And what I was hearing previous to this event, they did not trust the United States anymore. They did not respect the United States. But more importantly than anything else, they did not fear the United States. So we had lost all deterrence. The president and this administration have corrected that and changed the paradigm diametrically different. They went into Venezuela. And this president, unlike any president, is the most open, transparent, and vocal we've seen. He tells you what he's thinking, and then he does it. So he said we're going into Venezuela. He said we're going to strike Iran. He said he's going to recover our pilot. He did all those things. So that's what made this possible. The Iranians know he was going to take them to the Stone Ages. So deterrence is back on the table. And then finally, I would add, I think most importantly, based on the recovery of the pilot and what our military has done, we can do anything and everything in Iran we want to do. And the regime knows that. Their days, they were on their deathbed. If they didn't reach this agreement, they would have been gone. And that's not off the table yet. So back to the agreements. If you have a government in Iran who now says we are no longer pursuing the Islamic Revolution, we're not going to have a nuclear weapon, we're going to turn over our ballistic missiles and the free flow of oil, then you could have negotiation. So just a tremendous job by this administration and our military to put us in this situation and, again, deliver what the president knew was important to get the flow of oil through the Straits of Hormuz.
Well, it was eliminating the nuclear deterrent. And you can imagine a scenario, Mr. Ambassador, where the nuclear material that exists is retrieved and stored elsewhere or taken perhaps to the United States. We don't know how that's all going to work out, but that is going to be dealt with. And if that's not dealt with, all bets are off here tonight. But again, the president was very, very serious on the phone, very, very clear, but yet again, I would say more than cautiously optimistic, quite optimistic, that they had to be pushed to the brink, including taking out that major bridge. And I'm sure the Admiral will agree. That bridge had to be taken out so they would understand, we mean business. We're not letting this continue. We don't want to hurt people, the innocent people, but you're doing this, and believe us this time. I honestly think that was critical to all this. Thoughts?
Yeah, Laura, I think you're exactly right to focus on the nuclear question. That's why this war started in the first place, because Iran was committed to pursuing a nuclear weapon, full stop. What happens to the highly enriched uranium? They've got about 1,000 pounds entombed under the ground in a couple of different locations. What's the plan for getting it out? I don't think we can trust the Iranians, through the goodness of their hearts, to dig it up themselves and turn it over. Donald Trump is not going to be fooled by that kind of play. Are we going to go in and get it? Is some international consortium going to go in and get it? And the second thing, they've been building under Pickaxe Mountain a new facility, very deep. They could be using this for we don't know what, but potentially it's a location for future enrichment activity or research activity. We need to get to the bottom of that as well. So watch those two issues as the nuclear file progresses.
According to Reuters tonight, Iranian state TV is saying that Iran is reporting that it will only accept the war's conclusion once details are finalized in line with the 10-point plan. Again, lifting the sanctions. It wants payment of full compensation to Iran and release all frozen Iranian assets. I mean, Admiral, this is just all PR at this point. I'm sorry. And I think Donald Trump probably doesn't want to humiliate them as they are in this position. But to me, that is pure posturing at this point. They are on their last legs, and it's only a matter of time.
That's exactly right, Laura. That's all they've ever done. They just posture. They've never done anything unless it was in their benefits, and now they're paying the price for it. And so they've got a timeline here. We've halted. We're working these negotiations. They've got a sign on the line, and most of it is just fantasy in their line. They're not going to get reparations. They're not going to freeze assets. They will hand over the nuclear material. So again, the president can stop now, but that doesn't mean we can't restart in a day, 2 days. So the pressure's on the Iranians, and if they want to stay alive, they'll get hot on these negotiations and come to the table and deliver what we've been asking for since the start of hostilities.
And Mr. Ambassador, I know you don't necessarily want to get political here, but I think it was important, even if people disagreed with, starting the conflict and whether it was an imminent threat, that's fine. People can disagree on that. But for America to remain united in wanting this to go our way, that is so important. And right now, you have a lot of people out there on the hard left who are sadly betting against America and hoping that this whole thing collapses tonight. That in the matter of days, we're back to square one. It's the same brinksmanship as in the last couple of weeks. How important is it for, at this point, this administration to remain united and the political forces on Capitol Hill to set aside their political differences with Trump and all push for a good resolution here?
I think unity is really important, Laura, especially in wartime. And look, let's be clear about Iran and the threat it poses to the United States. It's been at war with us for 47 years, ever since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. And Iran doesn't care if you're a Democrat. Iran doesn't care if you're a Republican. They hate you all the same because you're an American. So they've killed a lot of American soldiers, some Democrats, some Republicans. They've taken a lot of American hostages over the years, some Republicans, some Democrats. Let's rally around the flag. Let's see the Iranian regime for the threat that it is to us and to the Iranian people themselves. And the day that this regime finally collapses is a day that's going to be good for all Americans, regardless of their political persuasion.
Admiral, Mr. Ambassador, both of you, thank you very much tonight.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.